During Michael Cohen's testimony in front of members of the House Oversight Committee, AOC, as always, was shining because she asked a line of questions that were incredibly important when it comes to obtaining Donald Trump's tax returns. Now, before we get to the videos, let me give you a little more context. Republicans were planning on fighting requests for Donald Trump's tax returns by arguing that there's really no legal reason for obtaining it, that it was nothing more than a political attack. But what you're about to hear from AOC through her line of questioning to Michael Cohen is a case that is perfectly made in order for them to obtain those tax returns legitimately. Take a look.
I want to ask a little bit about your conversation with my colleague from Missouri about asset inflation. To your knowledge, did the president ever provide inflated assets to an insurance company?
Yes.
Who else knows the president did this?
Alan Weisselberger, Ron Lieberman, and Matthew Calamari.
And where would the committee find more information on this? Do you think we need to review his financial statements and his tax returns in order to compare them?
Yes, and you'd find it at the Trump org.
Thank you very much.
Boom.
Yep.
We're not even done yet. There's more, right? But again,
so that's super important because we told you at length yesterday about all the different possible crimes that arise out of the Michael Cohen's testimony that affects Donald Trump Jr. and others at the organization. And Ro Khanna did a brilliant job breaking down financial fraud that happened in the Trump organization. I don't think he's getting enough credit, and that story's not being talked about enough because the checks were for that to pay back Michael Cohen for the hush money were for a different stated reason in the organization. You can't do that. That's fraud, right? Now, Ocasio-Cortez picks it up after Khanna by saying, wait, you said that he artificially inflates and deflates his wealth depending on who he's talking to. So how about insurance companies? Well, that's a brilliant line of questioning. And that would be insurance fraud, a very important and serious crime. And Michael Cohen said, oh yeah, we were doing that. And would that be in his tax returns? Yes, it would. And it'd be at the other papers of the Trump organization. And so that would be crimes that not just at the federal level, but it could also be at the state level if you're doing it in the state of New York. So, big trouble for the Trump team.
So let's give you a little more of AOC's questions.
To your knowledge, was the president interested in reducing his local real estate bills, tax bills?
Yes.
And how did he do that?
What you do is you deflate the value of the asset, and then you put in a request to the tax department for a deduction.
Thank you. Now, in October 2018, the New York Times revealed that, quote, President Trump participated in dubious tax schemes during the 1990s, including instances of outright fraud that greatly increased the fortune he received from his parents. It further stated from Mr. Trump, quote, he also helped formulate a strategy to undervalue his parents' real estate holdings by hundreds of millions of dollars on tax returns, sharply reducing his tax bill when those properties were transferred to him and his siblings. Mr. Cohen, do you know whether that specific report is accurate?
I don't. I wasn't there in 1990s.
Who would know the answer to those questions?
Alan Weisselberger.
And would it help for the committee to obtain federal and state tax returns from the president and his company to address that discrepancy?
I believe so.
Yes, yes. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about Mr. Weisselberger. The House Intelligence Committee is planning on interviewing Alan Weisselberger.
Told you. As we were doing the live play-by-play yesterday, I kept saying Weisselberger straight ahead. So if you think Michael Cohen knows a lot, he only worked with him with Trump for 10 years. Weisselberger's been there much longer, and he wasn't just the lawyer or the fixer, he was the finance guy. He must, by definition, have known exactly where all the money went, where it came in, where it went out, and all the accounting there. That's where the bodies are buried, or in this case, the crimes are buried. And Weisselberger is working with prosecutors. Tick, 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 tick. And when you got him on state level charges that cannot be pardoned, they're in a lot of trouble. And now I want to give credit to the mainstream media who are giving AOC credit here, because look, we try to hold them to account all the time, but pretty much universally today, the mainstream media are covering this like, we might have underestimated AOC, and it's not just one place. Many different places saying, unlike some of her colleagues on both sides, she did not do grandstanding. She just dove in to a really important line of questioning and unearthed two important things. One is the illegal actions, potentially illegal actions of the Trump team, including the president, and how to get his tax returns. That's a double win, and she did that in about 4 minutes.
Yeah, it was incredible. And look, we've seen AOC deliver over and over and over again, which is why we weren't surprised. I wasn't surprised. I knew that she was going to kill it. And she's always prepared. She does her homework, and it was fantastic. But I'm gonna push back a little bit, because while I do agree that overall it appears that the media, gave her, shining reviews following that line of questioning, it was clear to me that there were a few who begrudgingly did so. Okay, so I'm gonna read you. So this is by Ed Kilgore from New York Magazine, and maybe I'm reading too much into it, but I'll let you guys decide for yourselves.
Yeah.
This paragraph bothered me a little. True, she's lucky to be the rare member of Congress who will get attention no matter what she does. But this time she earned it. And if nothing else, it's a solid indication that she hasn't let her early celebrity go to her head.
Yeah, I hear you, Anna, but at least Ed, I don't know him, but in that case, Ed was honest about it. He said, I'm not in her camp, in an earlier part of the article. And that's where almost all the mainstream media is. They just don't admit it. He at least had the decency to admit it and to be swayed by facts. Look, the right wing's doing nonstop propaganda about her. Like they'll take anything. They'll be like, oh, she did mac and cheese, so she's too poor. Oh, she ate spaghetti, so she's too rich. Oh, she's an airhead because she's young. It goes on. And unfortunately, the mainstream media are enormously swayed by right-wing media. So they bought into a lot of that. And then when they see this line of questioning that's, excellent, they're like, oh, Fox News might not have been right about her. Yeah, duh. And it's not just Fox News. The establishment doesn't love her because she's challenging them.
Of course,
which is understandable, right? So now here's some reporters at least being open-minded enough to see maybe we were wrong. And that's a wonderful thing, and it doesn't happen often.
Sure, okay, fine. I don't like the condescending tone and this notion that, she gets all this attention for no reason. No, she gets attention because she challenges the status quo. She does what other elected leaders throughout our nation's history, for the most part, have been refusing to do, especially in the last few decades. And so she's getting attention for that. It's not like she's just some rando who just got elected into Congress and she's not doing anything special, but for some reason everyone's paying attention to her.
Yeah, that's a great criticism, Anna, because they make it seem as if it's superficial.
Right.
When it's no, the reason that she is followed by so many people on Twitter, et cetera, is because she has struck a chord. And so you should be thinking about, why does she strike that chord? Why is she so popular? And I interviewed David Catanese from US News and World Report yesterday. We had an interesting discussion. We don't agree on a lot of the framing, but it was good to have an intelligent back and forth on the issues of the day. And but he calls progressives in social media loud voices on Twitter, right? But did you think about why they're loud? So yeah, you've got some alt-right guys who scream, right, and talk about threats, et cetera, and that's one reason to be loud. The other reason is they're loud because they're large. There's a lot of them, right? And so that is what indicates that a politician is popular. And then you have to think about, why are they popular? All the folks that like and honestly love AOC don't love her because of her hairstyle, right? And I know that like a lot of the mainstream media is stuck in the 1990s, so they're still obsessed with superficial aspects of, do they give a good speech? Or, do they have good consultants? Do they do good hand motions while talking? No, this new generation grew up on the internet. They actually care about substance. They like someone not based on any of that. Think about it, just last thing on this, think about it, guys. That same cohort loves Bernie Sanders and Ocasio-Cortez. Two people on their physical attributes could not be more different. They're the exact opposite, right?
Very true, yes.
So why do they love both of them? Because they love their policies and they love how authentic they are. That's the lesson to learn here.
Right, and her fire style is just the cherry on top. So just keeping it real.
Like what you see? Click the subscribe button below and don't forget to ring the bell to never miss another video from the Young Turks.